All right. I'm going to let people in. There's Kent Bignell. Hello, everybody. This is pretty amazing. Hi, Charles.
Hello.
Hi, Kent. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Great to see you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
It's been a while.
Quite a while.
And Michael?
Yeah, I can't, am I there? Nope.
Yeah, I see you. There you are.
Are you ever
Oh,
here?
there we are. I was never here. Very proud of it. Is this just the three of us?
No,
I see Wayne.
there are 7 people in here so far.
Okay.
Although there were more than 20 who signed up.
Oh,
Wow. Impressive.
I imagine
yeah, I gotta slide over and look at the others.
we'll be filing in.
Representing the class of 67, with thanks to Wayne for inviting me.
Oh, great. Hi, Barry.
Hello. Hi, David.
Let,
Gentlemen,
let me introduce myself. I'm Paula Jensen, the wife of Robin Waples, and I was initiated into TM in 67, and I would
Oh,
like to hear what everybody has to say. I that was in Rockport, Massachusetts at the time.
oh. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Wayne. I don't know if he realized how much work he was getting into when he took this role upon himself, but it seems like it's become almost a full-time job for him. Um, and we certainly wouldn't be all here today if it wasn't for his efforts. Um, I wonder, this is a little bit off topic, but I get the alumni magazine, you probably all do. And rarely do I hear reports from people that I knew at Yale there. Mostly what it is our class notes is mostly obituaries of people that I don't remember.
yeah,
But this list,
But then you get the straight, oh, sorry.
this listserv that Wayne started, a good percentage of the people are people that I remember. So I don't know why that is, but that's how it is. So I've been enjoying it. Vincent Argiro. Hi, Vincent.
Hello.
And here's William Newman. People are filing in, so but we'll give a 3 or 4 minutes before we get into anything at all substantive, if ever we do. I just pulled up this background of a Kauai scene. It's legit because I do live there. I've lived there for 20 years, but I'm not there at the moment. I'm in Norway right now. And that didn't seem relevant at all. So I brought up a picture of Kauai. Vincent, it looks like you're on your boat.
I am.
How nice. Do you live on board? I don't think so.
Not permanently, but I have spent almost 6 months of the last 12 on the boat.
I think John Coig mentioned that he went sailing with you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we ought to get started. I was thinking what I might do is just reminisce a little bit about that meeting with Maharishi in November of 1966, if you can believe it. And let me just ask right now, how many of you were there at that meeting.
Really? And we were sitting right next to each other.
That's right. That's right.
Huh. Huh.
But I want to know why Saul Hopper was airbrushed out of this picture.
He's not airbrushed out. I sent him a Facebook message inviting him to this meeting today.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I didn't hear from him, but I mean we've exchanged warm and friendly greetings over the years, but they've been infrequent. So I don't know if he even got my message. But Saul was my roommate. Oh, there's Norm Sanchez. Hi, Norm. He may be muted or something, but
He's coming.
he's coming. He's coming. But yeah, Saul was my roommate. In fact, Saul Hopper, do any of you remember Saul?
Hey, Matt, I have Dave right here.
Yes, we do remember.
Yeah, great. Saul and I were roommates and we were really good friends. And after freshman year, we decided to go to Europe together. And we were traveling around, hitchhiking, which you could easily do in those days. I remember I had a guidebook. It was called Europe on $5 a day. And you could actually really do that and really have quite a good time on $5 a day in those days. Now it's more like $5 a minute, if that. But Saul and I were traveling around Europe together most of the summer. And at one point we went in two different directions, but then agreed that we were going to meet again in Spain at a certain date. The reason we were going to meet in Spain was that I had written a paper in freshman year about Salvador Dali, and I was so enthralled with him that I decided I wanted to meet him. And so I had the plan to go to his house in Port Llagat, Spain, which I did, and in fact did meet him and had lunch with him, and it was a very wonderful experience. But that's not the point of this discussion. But the point is that I had made arrangements to be there in Spain at a certain date with Saul. So during the time that we were apart from one another on this trip through Europe,
Yeah.
I was in London and I saw a poster in the London Underground station with a picture of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
Ah,
Something about that picture just it really kind of captured my interest. And I said, I don't know who that is, but I'd like to see this person. And I went to the lecture.
I have.
And
Oh, this
hey, Norm.
is
Hi, Dave. This is Matt Kastner. How are you?
Oh my gosh. Hi. So good to see you. Another former roommate. Matt and Norm. I like both of you so much when we were at Yale, and sorry that we haven't stayed in touch more, but it's great to see you here.
Thank you.
So anyway, I went and I saw this lecture by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and I was very, very impressed and very intrigued. I was impressed, first of all, by what he had to say. I understood it at that time from well, my perspective as a freshman at Yale. I remember reading Aldous Huxley's The Perennial Philosophy, which talked about the fact that there was this a philosophy and understanding and an experience that seemed to keep cropping up throughout human history in all different cultures, apparently independently and unrelatedly from other such instances, which were based upon the idea that there was one universal reality of life which could be experienced. And it was, sought after by mystics and by prophets and by various philosophers throughout history. And so I had been impressed by that. I was no student of, Eastern mysticism or any such thing. But when I saw this lecture by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I said, wow, this seems to be the first person I've encountered who is actually talking about what Aldous Huxley described in the Perennial Philosophy, and not talking about it in an intellectual way, but saying, I experienced this. This is my reality. This is a description of my life that I'm living, and I can show you all how to experience it too if you want. So I said, yeah, where do I sign up? I'd love to experience that. So as it turned out, I couldn't start right then because I had already made plans to meet my roommate and friend Saul in Spain when the personal instruction was to be held. And of course, there was no way of emailing him in those days. There was no way of even sending him a letter and getting a reply in those days. So I just had to go keep my commitment to Saul. But I made arrangements um, to learn through a teacher that Maharishi had trained when I got back to the East Coast, and I did. And wow, it changed my life dramatically. I had such a good experience with it. I was, I think, you know, the subject of a lot of then typical teenage angst and looking for uh, some relief from that, some deeper understanding, some better perspective that maybe would give me more peace. And I was quite introspective, philosophical, none of which seemed to do me any good, really. And then when I meditated, I just kind of transcended all of that. And it was just this experience of a very deep and very welcome peace. And it didn't feel like anything at all foreign or strange or esoteric. It just felt like, oh yeah, yes, right. Yeah, this is who I am, of course. Even that is too intellectual a description of what the experience was. It was just an experience of peace, peace which passeth understanding. Uh, so I loved my initial experiences of it, made a big impact, and I told the man who initiated me, whose name was Ricard Fleur, that I was a student at Yale, and he said, "Oh, that's great. Um, Maharishi would like to speak at some top U.S. universities. Um, would it be all right with you if I ask him if he would like to come to Yale? And if he says yes, would you be interested in setting it up?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Please do." So he did. And the reply came back a day or two later. Yes, have David set it up. And Norm was out. Now he's come back. And so I did. And, I went all out. I booked Wolsey Hall, biggest auditorium on campus by far, and did a big publicity job. And it was just about full at the time of the lecture. And Maharishi didn't show up. And after about a half hour, he still hadn't showed up. And, I went up on stage and I said, well, don't worry, I'm sure he'll be here. He said he was coming. I mean, this was, I am a sophomore now, standing up on the stage of Wolsey Hall to a full house. Uh, and then a security guard came up the aisle, said he had gotten a phone message that Maharishi had been delayed. In fact, there was car trouble to blame. and but that he would be there. Don't worry, he'd be there in, I don't know, I think about a half an hour or 45 minutes or something. So I told everyone, um, okay, well, he's definitely coming, and you can stay or you can go and come back again at 8:30 or whatever the time would have been. So most people stayed. Some people left. Uh, most of the people who left did come back. So the hall was still almost full when he came, and he came and he spoke, and he was very warmly received. Uh, out of that group of, maybe it turned out to be about 800, mostly students and faculty in the audience. More than 100 of them learned to meditate right then at the introductory course that was given, and quite a good number of them wound up learning uh, other opportunities that were provided throughout our sophomore year. And a number of those people um, became lifelong friends. A number of them became faculty of Maharishi International University, of which I was one of the founding administrators. Um, and here we all are tonight um, as or as a result, direct or indirect, of that event that happened. How many years ago was it? Almost 60 years ago, right? So it's it's really it's gratifying to me to see that event, which I was so unqualified to organize, had turned out to have such a lasting impact on so many people.
David, is there a recording of that talk? I don't think I've ever heard it if there is.
I don't think so. No, it wasn't that easy to do then, and no, I don't believe that there was a recording of it.
I
There was-
sent David an account written the next day in the Yale Daily News, which
Yeah, yeah,
actually goes through quite a bit of what the Maharishi covered. It's a pretty good article, I thought.
yeah.
I have.
It was quite
I saw
accurate.
that. I haven't gone through it yet, but I will.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there no charge? That's interesting because I paid for my mantra probably 10 years later when I got into it.
Yes, there was a fee for learning. At the time, it was $35.
Yeah,
And
not too. So you
and
could pay. How do you pay if you're all sitting in Woolsey Hall and 100
well,
people?
you don't pay then.
Oh,
But
okay.
there was a follow-up meeting for people who actually wanted to learn.
Oh,
We announced where that would be and then when, and people came to that. And then when they came, they were given individual appointments to learn. I think we probably got some rooms at a local hotel, which was where we did those first instructions. And people came and that's where they paid.
I'd be interested. I know I'm interrupting here, but I'd be interested to know how many of us on this Zoom still meditate, and if so, how often? For myself, it's probably once a week on average, not really as recommended, the twice a day, but once a week when I'm in a little, tired or what have you. Is can I have a little show of hands who meditates? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a lot of hands up. Yeah. Well, how about if we go through and let everybody speak for a minute or two and about their experience with meditation? And starting with, were you at that lecture? What did you think at the time? Did you learn to meditate? Did you keep it up or not? What has it meant to you, and all that sort of thing, or anything else you'd like to say? So let's just go through the list.
You want me to
Charles?
start? I could start?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my name is Charlie Carignan. I was at Yale. I was a freshman like you guys. But I didn't actually, and I was very interested in things like meditation. But I didn't actually go to Maharishi's lecture because he had just been on the cover of, I forget which magazine, you know, Life or Look or Newsweek or something. And so I just figured that anybody who's on the cover of some big magazine like that would not be legit. Of course, that was a big mistake. But years later, in 1971, my wife and I did learn TM, and we've been doing it ever since. And we became TM teachers in '74. And obviously it changed our lives for the better. And so that was my story. But I just want, since I missed his lecture, I thought I'd come into this meeting. And
better late than never, right?
Better late than never. But it wasn't that late. It was only a few years later. So we've been meditating regularly ever since. And we became teachers and so forth. Yeah.
Well, it's wonderful.
That's my brief story.
Good. Who wants to chime in next? Why don't I just go through the list and call on people? So we've heard from Charlie and Jeff. How about Norm?
I meditated a little bit. Was it freshman year? Was that
sophomore year? Sophomore year.
Yeah, I think through Saul.
Yeah,
yeah. And I was going to ask, how's Saul? Is he still? What's he up to these days?
I invited him, but I didn't hear back from him, which is not unusual because we communicate maybe once every 2 years, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I meditated a little bit, and it was very helpful freshman year, and a little bit since then, and it was very useful. I haven't kept it up, but I have a lot of respect for it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Norm.
This is a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah, man.
Norm and I are visiting. We're playing some music together. I'm Matt Kastner, and I did go to that lecture. I think the big one in Wolsey Hall, but I don't remember the delay. But somehow we all persevered, and then I think to the hotel to learn the mantra and to join up. And then I did it for a while afterwards. I found it very relaxing. But then I kind of let it go. So I haven't been keeping it up, unfortunately.
I was so lucky to have you as a roommate because the morning came and practiced in our room. And I mean, they were like, the band of our class. And I loved your music, and it was so great to have it right in our room sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah, and it was great to have you as a roommate, too. You and I think Chris was also a roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was great. And it was a lot of fun back then. I'm exploring all sorts of new things, TM and music and a lot of academics. Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, great. How about Ron? Ron Netter?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thanks, David. I'm actually I live in Switzerland, and I'm having in a little resort village, and I'm having real problems with the audio, and I'm trying with this. I'm missing, so I've missed out on a lot. I'm very sorry, but
we hear you fine right now.
Okay. Well, briefly, I also went to that lecture, but I didn't. At that point, I was pretty interested in theology, and I found that this was very interesting, but not interesting enough for me to follow through on it. But I ended up back in New Haven about 6 years after graduation, and this was like 76 or 7, and TM was all over the place, and they were doing courses at, wasn't Wolsey, it was Hendrie Hall, I think.
Right.
And I took a course with my then wife, and to this day, I have to say I don't follow through. My life story is not finishing things, but I have to say that this is the one area where I have stayed loyal to the meditation. And it's to the point that if I don't do a daily meditation in the morning, then my day is a little squirrely. So it's easy for me to do it. And I think what I learned from that, what I've learned over life from this is really the difference of non-dual thinking and dualistic thinking, because the meditation was, the idea was to take us from our mind, which occupies 99% of our time, and our ego, and move it over to our heart and our gut, basically. And I find that that's what meditation does for me. So it's really easy for me to discipline myself to do it in the morning, and I try to keep that feeling going, meaning not let my ego kind of take over my day. So very often now, because I'm retired in Switzerland, in a little village, I have a lot of time to do a second meditation, which I'm doing now fairly regularly. So I'd have to say, that was the beginning. But I have to say it's really, obviously it's had a huge impact on my life, and I'm very happy that I'm involved with it. And I'm happy to see this group. It's great. There are a couple of people here who I like, Kent Bicknell. I think I haven't seen you, or you were at TD, right? Yeah, we haven't, and I don't hear you. There you go.
I was, yes, I was. For 1 year. I started in Silliman and then I switched to TD. And then I left after 6 months.
That's right. I remember that. Right. I remember having a conversation with you about it because I was pretty interested. Anyway.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ken, okay. you want to reminisce a little bit while you're there on screen?
Sure. As Michael Foles mentioned, he and I went and sat together. We were coming out of, or deep in the midst of, Professor Norman Hines' seminar on modern Hinduism. So we were really immersed in.
I took that class.
It was a great class.
Yeah.
Sri Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, then Tagore, and then Gandhi. And
it met at the divinity school, right?
I don't know. I don't remember meeting the divinity school, but at any rate, these were deeply God intoxicated people. And I was amazed because I realized they were alive like when my grandfather was alive, and they were going into samadhi and leaving the body. So we were pretty excited about seeing the Maharishi, but ultimately kind of disappointed. I think I kept a diary at the time, and I wrote that he was very childlike and simple, but I thought the questions were kind of absurd. And the one I remember is, will TM help me with my physics homework? And the answer was yes, it would help you with your physics homework, which I'm sure it did, but that's not what I was looking for from a saint from India. So I was really glad I went. And I think the Look magazine cover came out after that Wolsey Hall talk, quite a bit later. And it was fun to see people like my good friend Chuck Whitehead on the cover, and you, Dave, etc. But anyway,
whatever happened to him?
We're in touch. He's in England. He's in good shape. He's wonderful. So anyway, I found another spiritual teacher in India, got connected in 1968 with my wife, and went to India many, many times and continued to meditate on a daily basis. But, have known a lot of people connected with TM, and certainly the benefit and the kind of the path that the Maharishi and others, but particular the Maharishi, the path that he forged was really, really helpful, I think, for a lot of people. And then I founded a school based on those principles, and I ran that school for 44 years.
Oh my gosh. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's called the Sampani School in Samerton, New Hampshire. I guess the biggest, it's a great progressive school with strong academics, strong arts, etc., but a real commitment to kindness and a vegetarian diet. So you didn't have to convert to vegetarianism, but if you came to the school campus, you had to eat a vegetarian diet. So it's still going on. I left in 2017. I thought 44 years was about enough, but it's still thriving, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, meditation was very much a part of my life, and it was really kind of a wonderful opportunity to go see the Maharishi in the midst of studying all about saints from India.
Thanks for that, Ken. Michael Chelnov.
Hey, David. Hey, Kent.
Hi.
Kent mentioned Chuck Whitehead, who was my dearest buddy whole
Yeah.
freshman year.
Yeah.
And we were inseparable. And
I remember that well. Yeah.
and he started meditating. But I wanted to ask Kent, how did he get in touch with him? There is sort of an obscure address on our class notes, and maybe that's what I have to do. I've been thinking about him recently. Or do you
Michael,
have an email address, Kent?
I do. And what I'll do is I can get in touch with you through the alumni page, correct? That will work.
Alumni? Well, I'm in the class of 70.
Why don't I write Wayne, and Wayne can give me your email, and then I can just send you Chuck's email.
Okay, great. Well, Wayne, I don't know if he has my email, but we'll make it happen. So
Hey,
as
can I
fast-
interrupt for a second and just show you guys? If you go to Yale1969.org, across the top is a search bar. Just put in the name of the classmate. If they've posted anything like a 50th reunion, a lot of people put the 50th reunion essay, and all of their contact information is right at the top of that.
Okay, Wayne, but
Chuck was class of 70.
class of 70. And so
I met him because they were not allowing him to come into the dining hall to eat as a freshman because he didn't have a tie. So I was on my way out and I saw this kid being stopped. So I said, "Here, take my tie." And the dining hall people got very upset at me. And I said, "Why?" So Chuck put on my tie and went in and ate. And that's how we became good friends.
God.
We're still in close
Our
touch.
class was the class that ruined everything from the perspective of the old blues. I remember a lot of us were protest. We had to wear coats and ties to all meals, including breakfast. That was the rule freshman year. So some of us would do things like we would wear a coat and a tie, but no shirt.
Right.
yes,
That?
yes.
Anyway,
So-
Michael, it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you, David. That must be a picture of Hawaii behind you.
That's a picture of Kauai. I'm not there at the moment. I'm actually in Norway at the moment,
I see.
but that would be completely irrelevant. So I pulled up that picture of Kauai, where
Uh-huh.
I've lived for the last 20 years.
Yes. Well, to just talk a little bit about my experience, I learned TM. Somebody asked Maharishi in that lecture, he said, "Will this help us with exams?" And I was a freshman, and a lot of freshmen arrive at Yale and they wonder, well, how am I going to do at my first exams? And so he said, yes, and exams will become a joy. And I thought, well, they don't need to be a joy for me. So I started TM, and it did become easier to go to exams and enjoy them. After starting TM, we're not supposed to smoke marijuana because it doesn't affect the nervous system in a good way. But I did once, maybe with Chuck Whitehead even. And then I found that my TM didn't work for about 2 weeks. It just wasn't, I just didn't sink in very well. And after about 2 weeks, it worked again. That was my experience. And so I thought, I'm going to get to the bottom of this because Maharishi makes all these great claims about it. And so I have pursued it very carefully since then, and became a TM teacher, also became an architect, and have been involved with TM in many different ways. And one thing that I currently, David said in his article that Dean Wilkinson told him that the TM group at Yale was the largest student organization, like in 68 or 69. And I've been thinking that Yalies really could use TM these days. And it hasn't happened because there's sort of the faculty and the psychology faculty have really fallen in love with another kind of meditation, mindfulness, and they're kind of keeping TM out. They don't want to hear about TM. It's interesting. So I would love to see a TM lecture occur at Yale, but it has to be sponsored by students. And that hasn't happened yet. But I'd love to see that happen. So, Kent, I think I met you at Yale. Your name is familiar to me. And I'm going to look for Chuck. If you have an email for him, that's great. I'll get in touch. And so that's kind of my experience. You know, for me, TM was my extracurricular activity. I would give little lectures on TM and everything. So I really got totally wrapped up in it. And I'm still kind of involved with it, like some of you guys. So
Well,
Why don't you tell the story? Michael, why don't you tell the story about Hendrie Hall and Dean Wilkinson?
oh, yes. So in 1970, when I had just graduated and I was headed towards a teacher training course in the Rockies, I got a call. I was in Boston, and I was going to drive down through New Haven to New York and then take off for Colorado. And somebody invited me, maybe it was Michael Caine. He said, we're going to meet with Dean Wilkinson next week, and it'd be nice if you could be there. So I went to that meeting, and so Michael Caine, who was teaching TM at that point, he was a professor. No, he was a graduate student at the art school, and he'd gone to teacher training in India. Anyway, he was asking Dean Wilkinson if we could have a couple rooms where we could check people's meditation. And so we're sitting there with Dean Wilkinson in his office, and he pulls out a map of Hendrie Hall of the 3rd floor, and he says, and I guess I didn't know this, but he was really very supportive of TM. And so we said, we'd like 2 little rooms, and he pulls out the map and he outlines a third of the 3rd floor at least. And he says, well, I'm going to give you guys this. And I said, I looked at it and I saw that SDS was in that space among other groups. And I said, well, what about SDS? I had been interested in SDS early on. And so then he took his pencil out. He said, well, I'm just going to put SDS here. He put a big X on the front steps of the building. So, so anyway, so we got that large space, and Michael Caine built a special soundproof wall because I think there was a musical group that was next door. We had to make it a little quieter. And so we had that space for about 8 years. And it turned out that there weren't many Yalies learning TM anymore. And it was mostly being used by the New Haven community and surroundings. So eventually we didn't have that space anymore. But that was an interesting experience. I got in touch
you
with
mentioned Michael Caine. Michael and his wife Charlotte definitely attended that lecture by Maharishi in 1966.
Yes.
And that's what led them both to start meditation.
That's a very good point.
Yes. Yeah.
The way I remember that lecture is that Maharishi did not show up when he was supposed to. So everybody was just waiting. And finally, David gets up and goes out and sits on the stage floor with a mic and just starts answering questions for about 20, 30 minutes. And I thought that was very courageous of him, but he just spoke what he knew, and it was great. So then we waited longer period of time, and finally Maharishi showed up, and there's a whole story behind that, but maybe I can tell that some other time. I think somebody shared it on your class of 69 little piece you made there that you wrote, David. So I remember the Hendrie Hall was really almost packed. And of course, some people left, but it was still quite.
You mean Wolsey Hall?
Yes, Wolsey Hall. And David did a great publicity job. He went around campus and put posters up. I was coming back from a physics lecture one morning around 10 o'clock in the morning, coming down from the science buildings, and I crossed Wolsey Hall there, and there was a poster right on Wolsey Hall, picture of Maharishi. And I thought,
I don't know what this is, but I'm going to check it out. Because I had a policy back then, I would go and hear a speaker almost every night. We had all these great speakers coming to Yale. So I just added Maharishi to my list and went and heard him. And eventually, in about a month, started TM and kept doing it.
Yep. Wonderful. So good to see you after all these years, Michael. I'm sorry that we haven't been more in touch, but you were obviously a key person, a key friend at my years at Yale, and so glad
Yes.
to reconnect with you.
Yes, we haven't seen each other much, but I felt connected because now and then we'll exchange emails. But
Yes.
and I do have some people who want me to design a house for them in Hawaii. Actually, I think it may be in Kauai. And so if I do go out they want me to come out there. And if that happens, I will definitely get in touch with you if you're not in Norway or wherever. What brings you to Norway?
Actually, I'm here with my girlfriend, and we are getting ready to go on a trip on a ship called the Hurtigruten, which goes up the coast of Norway. We're leaving tomorrow. Going to go all up the whole coast of Norway from Bergen all the way up to the northernmost part of the coast, and then out across the Arctic Ocean to Svalbard.
Nice. Beautiful. I'd like to just interject. It's not, and I got so much from TM, but I want to address this to Kent Bicknell, which is how much I've been in education for 25 years, and what incredible respect I have for the work you did, Kent, and for your school. Really, you're one of my heroes. So just throwing that out. Okay.
That's kind. I wish I could play piano like you can.
Anybody can play piano. No, really impressed. You lived what I always dreamed of doing. You did it. So anyway.
Well, how about Vince? Vince Argiro.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. So I am a member of the younger generation of Yalies who learned TM during that era, and I'm very grateful to all of you who were pioneers, and particularly this, hearing this story, which I guess I had we've heard before years ago about how the TM Center ended up in Hendrie Hall. And I spent a lot of time in that center at Hendrie Hall because I learned TM at the end of my freshman year in 1974. And I like to tell people that the significant days in my life, I'm gifted with the capacity to have photographic recollection of. And I remember walking down, I lived in the Mid-Hudson Valley, west of New Haven, and I remember walking down the steps of the TM Center in Poughkeepsie, New York on May 18th, 1974, like it was yesterday. I remember the quality of the sunlight hitting my eyes post my first meditation. And for me, it was truly a life transforming event. I went back to Yale that fall, and I actually that summer I took the SCI course, which was brand new, 33 lesson SCI course in my center, and that's where I first heard about MIU. And I thought Maharishi International University, and I remember Maharishi saying that this teaching will be maintained in every generation by the intelligentsia of every generation. And I thought to myself, I'm in the intelligentsia. I want to do this. And that fall,
Who's that?
when I returned to Yale my sophomore year, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I remember it being dark, so it was probably like November. Keith Wallace and Larry Domash came to speak at Yale, and I met them and basically offered myself to them, and I said, I want to end up at MIU. I want to do this TM and education thing that you're founding. And Keith Foss, of course, was the founding president, and Larry Domash was the second president of MIU. And Keith said, absolutely, we want you. Come as soon as you can. I said, well, I have to finish my undergraduate degree. I have to get my PhD, and because I want to be a professor. So I'll see you in about, 8 years, 9 years. But the seed was set, and I continued on that path. And I eventually did become a faculty member of MIU many years later, and I met Michael Chelnov there. But most of you I've not met because I was part of this younger generation who, again, was the beneficiary of your early experiences, and you're bringing Maharishi to Yale and getting that center established at Hendrie Hall, where I came back. I went to teacher training the following year. I became a teacher in 1975 and 1976. And I initiated many people at Hendrie Hall, including a little child, taught him the walking mantra, a 6 or 7 year old child I remember very well. And Blair Butterfield, who was on the conversation to set up this call, but I don't see here. Blair and I became very close friends. He was 1 year behind me at Yale, and I became his SEI teacher, and I taught his SEI course in Hendrie Hall, and he went on to teacher training the next year, and then actually worked for Bevan Morris and, in the international TM movement years later. And I would also add, particularly those of you who maybe learned early on and maybe didn't continue with TM, I went, and we're all Yalies. From my sophomore year at Yale, I went to teacher training, did all of that long meditation, and I came back to Yale my junior year, and I went literally from a C student to an A+ student. And it completely transformed my education, having that capacity. And, I've been eternally grateful for both of those things in my life. Yale was an extraordinary intellectual environment for me. I was a biology major and went on to become a neuroscientist. And I stayed with TM, became a TM teacher, and then eventually a leader and a philanthropist within the TM movement. And I'm very grateful for all of it. And I'm sitting in my beautiful sailing boat because of all those experiences, because of all that good fortune. I'm very grateful for all of it. And thank you, David, for organizing this, and John Clapp for keeping in touch with all of us Yale TMers over the years. I'm disappointed to say, since I was one of the first classes that included women, I'm very sorry that there are no women on this call. I keep in touch with Meg Custer, who's a Yalie, and there are others as well. Anyway, it's great to be with all of you and to reminisce about those truly bright college years.
Thank you so much, Vince. So great to hear your story. You mentioned John Clapp. John, I see you're there. Hello.
Hi, David. Good to talk to you. It's been a while.
It's been a moment or two. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I happen to have a picture. I don't know if we can show it properly, but Michael Chelnov can explain this picture. Can we? I can't see. How's this? Oh, I gotta
hold it up to the camera.
Yeah, no, I have to turn off my. I have to
virtual background.
Back on. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can show this picture, and Michael, you can explain what it is.
Ah.
Okay.
Can you show that picture big? I'm sorry, we're getting the reflection off. Yeah.
We can see it.
David, Michael, can you explain that picture?
Yes, there's 4 Yalies here. We were just.
You have to show it a little bigger though, if you in the.
Yeah, that's great. I'll keep it like that.
It's full screen. It's great.
There you go.
4 of us went to the first TM teacher training course in the U.S. It was in Colorado, in Estes Park, and Maharishi came there and there were like 300 people, and we took this course for 2.5, 3 months. At the end of the course, I knew there were 4 of us Yalies there, and I asked somebody, I said, can we get a picture with Maharishi? He said, sure. Nat Goldhaber actually took this picture.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
so there's Maharishi, and I'm on the left, and Doug Grimes is right to the right of me. And then we have 2 more guys over on the right.
Eric Dahl and Kirby
Eric Dahl.
Lamont.
Kirby Lamont. Kirby Lamont is, I see him on Facebook regularly. He writes poems. He's very active in promoting spirituality. I remember when we were getting around Maharishi, and Maharishi turned to me, he said, stand a little bit further away from me so that the picture is better. That's what I remember. Anyway, it's a great picture. And yeah, we were, so, you know, one thing that I just heard a second ago from Vincent, he said Yale and TM were 2 really important things in his life. And the same is true for me. Yale gave me so much, such a great education, such confidence that I could understand and, you know, absorb any information. And TM helped me a lot to be really successful at Yale. So I'm always trying to give something back to Yale. And I would like to give TM back to Yale. So I've been trying to do that in different ways, and we're making a little progress, but it hasn't happened.
Michael Caine and Charlotte. And...
Who's that? Charles Carignan?
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife because she took the SCI course with Michael and Charlotte Caine.
Yes.
What was that?
I'm not sure what year that was. It was.
But anyway, so that's her connection with Yale TM.
Was she at Yale at the time, or she?
Not exactly, no, but we were together back then. Yeah.
Yes.
So tell them I missed the part off that they talked about. I had to run an errand.
They can hear you, dear.
Well, we haven't heard from Michael Foles. Are you there? Are you still there, Michael?
You're muted, Michael.
Damn it.
There you
But
are.
I got a smile. So Kent and I'm also an initiate of the same guru guy in India. And I still meditate, try and do 2 hours a day in my old age. What else is there to do? And in 1970, I went to India and spent 4 months there. I've been to India a few other times. In 2007, I took my wife Maureen, and we went all over the place. We ended up in Rishikesh, and we were staying at the hotel. They said, well, you could go to see, oh no, she wanted to see the Maharishi thing. So they said, yeah, well, it's a mile down that way, and you go down there, and the whole Maharishi ashram they sold it, went bankrupt or something years and years ago. So there's just monkeys in the trees kind of and walking on the path. I thought at the time in 1966, as it has transpired, TM was a good product, and certainly any kind of meditation is better than no kind of meditation at all. I'm not saying therefore it's not good. I'm saying that I had a problem, as Kent did, I think at the time, charging money for it, because our understanding of mysticism and all that stuff is that the marketplace ended at that, the spiritual realm was antithetical to the marketplace. and I had a real problem with charging. And you know, $35 would be what, $350 these days. And I remember arguing with you, David, and you saying, well, if somebody doesn't pay for something, they won't think it's worth doing. You know, they won't you know, if you pay for the initiation, then you're going to be motivated to actually do it. And there was a certain, you know, part of that argument which was true. But at the same time, I didn't see, you know, the Maharishi certainly is separate from the meditation product that the meditation that he was, you know, actually selling. And in the meantime, I've, you know, being in India and seeing all kinds of gurus and claimants to guruship and stuff like that. I didn't get the vibe from Maharishi, but the meditation itself and TM, and if you do it, I mean, you can have the greatest thing in the world, but if you don't do it, it's stupid. But all these people that are here that did do it, and so anybody that has done something for 59 years, really give props to them. And you're looking at me, David, like I'm not dissing TM.
I'm not looking at you in any particular way.
It's a good.
What I'm doing is I'm just scrolling through the chat to see what I may have missed there. Please don't take it personally. No, I'm only averting my gaze because the chat is in the lower right corner of my
My
screen.
aura is too grown.
That's all it is. Sort of maybe cut you off, and was there more that you wanted to share?
You know, I'm not sure. I'm pretty much the same. My experience was pretty much the same as Michael Chelnov. You know, we just spent a lot of time putting up posters, checking meditation. We spent a lot of time in Hendrie Hall. I was there before the first initiation in Hendrie Hall. As Michael said, one of the main walls was, on the opposite of the main wall was a piano practice room. So all night before the first set of initiations, Michael Caine and I and a few other people put up a second wall there and painted it and spackled it and so on. And I just remember, you know, my time at Yale, the most joy I had was working for the Sims organization, and setting up lectures and giving lectures with Michael and some others, and checking meditation and things like that. So that was, you know, I'm not sure much what more I can say about that.
All right, great. Well, I think we're kind of coming to the end of our time now. It's been an hour, and we've lost a few people. And before we lose anybody else, I just want to say what a joy this has been for me to see all of you and to see that you know, those I wouldn't even take any credit for sowing the seeds. They just sort of blew by, and I happened to be there when those seeds sprouted. But they were pretty good seeds because all of you are still here, and it's those, you know, those early days and that lecture of Maharishi had a lifelong lasting influence on so many people. And that's you know, you can't say that about many things at Yale. There were all kinds of speakers that came through, and they were interesting, but how many of them actually really fundamentally changed people's lives in a lasting way? This was maybe the only one that I can think of that that changed so many people's lives just from a talk that happened to be given at Yale on one evening. So
Thank you, David, for
Thank you,
organizing.
David.
David, thank you.
great to see all you
Thank you.
guys.
Yes, thank you, David.
Feel absolutely free to stay in touch. Send me a message. I'd love to hear from any of you with anything on any topic that you'd like to talk about. So all the best to all of you, and thanks so much for being here tonight.
Very nice. Great to
Thank
see
you. Bye all.
Time to meditate in my time zone.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.